In this video, I'm giving you 10 male monologues by old Billy Shakespeare, and these characters are all in beast mode. They're aggressive, animalistic, and combative. Some are pumped on pre-battle adrenaline, some are seething with fury for their enemies. Remember, you can use the chapters to save time finding the monologue you need, and at the end of the video, I'll tell you how you can view and download all of these speeches for free. Right, let's do it. King Henry, from King Henry V, Act 3, Scene 3. King Henry has led the English army into France. They're pausing outside the French town of Harfleur because a parley has been called. The king is surrounded by his soldiers and is making a scathing threat to the French. King Henry V is often thought of as a valiant and noble English war hero, but this lesser-known speech of his suggests anything but. He says, "I will not leave the half-achieved Harfleur till in her ashes she lie buried," which sounds more like Bane speaking to Batman about Gotham, for God's sake. King Henry says there will be no mercy, that fresh fair virgins and flowering infants will be mown like grass, that soldiers will defile the shrieking daughters, fathers' heads will be dashed against walls, and naked infants spitted upon spikes. Wow. This speech is King Henry at his hot-headed worst, and Shakespeare is revealing his brutal and vicious facets. Start at, "How yet resolves the governor of the town?" and stop at, "Or guilty in defence be thus destroyed." Titus, from Titus Andronicus, Act 5, Scene 2. Titus is stood over two tied-up enemies, Demetrius and Chiron. They've harmed him in unthinkable ways, and this is the ultimate payback speech before he slits their throats. Titus's daughter Lavinia stands nearby holding a basin to catch their blood, which Titus then intends to bake into a pie. Titus details the diabolical damage this pair have done, how they've killed his daughter Lavinia's husband, then set up her brothers for the crime, then made Titus cut off his own hand, then raped Lavinia before cutting off her hands and tongue. Very heavy stuff. This speech serves as verbal retribution for these horrific crimes, and it feels like a gangster or mafia boss speech. It's barbarically dark, fueled by pure pain and inconceivable grief. Start at, "Come, come, Lavinia, look, thy foes abound," and stop at, "And see them ready, against their mother comes." Prince Escalus, from Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, Scene 1. Prince Escalus is the governor of Verona, and he's arrived to break up a violent civil brawl between two feuding families, the Capulets and the Montagues. It's a total authoritarian speech, halting the violence and threatening the death penalty to anyone that starts another fracas. This speech starts furiously, then steadily simmers. You have choices with how angry to play him and what specifically irritates him the most. Start at, "Rebellious subjects, enemies to peace," and stop at, "Once more on pain of death, all men depart." Aaron, from Titus Andronicus, Act 5, Scene 1. Aaron is one of Shakespeare's definitive villains. This speech is at the end of the play, and he's been captured by his enemies and made to confess a long list of heinous crimes. When asked if he's sorry for his actions, he replies with this outrageous speech. Astonishingly, he doesn't repent at all. Instead, he reels off a wish list of evil things he'd like to repeat. He speaks of murder and rape, of stirring up deadly hostility, killing cattle, committing arson, body snatching, and then delivering the bodies to the deceased's friends. This is an unfathomably sinister and remorseless speech that's delicious to work on. Start at, "Even now I curse the day, and yet I think," and stop at, "But that I cannot do 10,000 more." Coriolanus, from Coriolanus, Act 3, Scene 3. Coriolanus, a proud and stubborn general, has been banished from Rome where he rules. A mob of rowdy citizens are shouting at him. This causes Coriolanus to explode with this concise and blistering vocal onslaught. He likens their breath to the smell of rotten fens, likens them to dead carcasses, and calls them uncertain and ignorant. Coriolanus is full of volcanic rage that's now ruthlessly erupting. You can play this speech with explosive release, or with more spiteful and calculating callousness. It's one of the shorter speeches on this list, but it still feels intensely sharp, piercing, and powerful. Start at, "You common cry of curs, whose breath I hate," and stop at, "There is a world elsewhere." Edmund, from King Lear, Act 1, Scene 2. Edmund's bitter that his brother, Edgar, is due to receive a rich inheritance whilst he receives nothing. He is outcast, bullied and derided by society for being born out of wedlock. This is a soliloquy where Edmund's alone speaking to the natural world, seeking an alliance, justice and vengeance. This is a very popular villain speech with good reason. The language is super crispy and the thoughts are crystal clear. There's tons of alliteration and sibilance in the text to savour, and there are copious characterisation choices you can explore too. Start at "Thou nature art my goddess" to "Thy law," and stop at "Now gods, stand up for bastards." Captain, from King Henry VI, Part 1, Act 4, Scene 2. This speech is by the captain of the French forces in Bordeaux. He's speaking alone with Talbot of the English army after a parley has been called. It's a fearless and defiant speech that's measured and menacing. He refuses Talbot and the English army peaceful admittance. He then warns Talbot that 10,000 French soldiers are aiming their weapons at him from all sides and that he has no escape but by death. Start at "Thou ominous and fearful owl of death," and stop at "And mine shall ring thy dire departure out." Timon, from Timon of Athens, Act 3, Scene 7. Timon is hosting a banquet for his friends and lords, but he's planned much more than just a luxurious evening of fine dining. Timon's liberal attitude with money has left him with huge debts, and his friends have refused to offer him financial aid. So he's gathered them all together for a scolding that they won't forget. He's uncovered the cloches to reveal steam and lukewarm water, and he's opening the vocal floodgates with a torrent of insults. This speech feels a little shorter and a lot more chaotic and desperate. Timon is brimming with bitterness and overflowing with outrage. Start at "May you a better feast never behold," and stop at "Henceforth hated be of Timon man and all humanity." King Richard, from King Richard III, Act 5, Scene 3. We're before the climactic Battle of Bosworth, and King Richard is rousing his army. This speech is full of lively insults describing the enemy. He calls them rascals, runaways, scum, and much more. Also, King Richard is plagued by nightmares, and his psychopathic actions are playing havoc with his mind. This means that you could choose to infuse some of this speech with a more frenzied energy rather than just unwavering resolve. Start at "What shall I say more than I have inferred?" Cut the single lines of dialogue with the messenger and Norfolk, and stop at "Upon them, victory sits on our helms." Lear, from King Lear, Act 3, Scene 2. This is an incredibly iconic speech where the quickly diminishing king is on the heath during a storm, raging against the elements. It borders on being too well known or daunting, but I think it has to be included in a beast mode monologue list. The language is beautiful yet tough and muscular in your mouth. He's verbally assaulting the strongest force on earth, Mother Nature. This speech allows you to explore bold physical and vocal choices with some wonderful words to underpin your work. Also, why I love this speech is that you can choose if the storm is ferocious or placid, as in the eye of the storm. And Lear himself could be wildly raging or could be strangely calm. All options are intriguing possibilities. This speech is full of devastating pain and fury, delirium and desperation. What a fantastic feast of things to play. Start at "Blow winds and crack your cheeks, rage, blow." Cut out the fool's line, and stop at "So old and white as this, oh ho, 'tis foul." So there we go, 10 bold, brilliant, beast mode monologues. To get copies of these speeches, click on the link in the description down below. Then click on the speech you want and download it as a digital PDF file. If you want more ideas for amazing Shakespeare speeches, make sure you watch my other Shakespeare monologue videos, linked below or coming up. And if you think I've missed out on any more amazing beast mode monologues, leave a comment down below. If this video's helped you, please give it a like and make sure you subscribe to the channel too. And if you know someone this video will help, please send it their way. Finally, have a look at these other videos that I've made that I think you'll like. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Take care and all the best.